Deniable. The latest initiative aimed at registering as voters ahead of the 2027 polls, hinting at a political card to impact the polls. Tonight we debate the youth vote, tuko kadi, and how many cards. Guests tonight, we have a panel to make sense of that, a panel that is equally youthful. Dr. Ben Gigi is a youth advocate. Kariuki Ngunjiri is a youth leader in UDA. Otieno Mokaya is an advocate. Lena Mati is a lawyer and a governance expert. Ladies and gentlemen, good evening, and thank you very much for making time for us tonight.
Good evening.
Dr. Ben, let me start with you perhaps. Kenya has over 75% of its population as young people. Its leadership is not young, is it?
Abu, thank you so much for having me in the studio. What I would want to state at first is that tuko kadi. As young people, we have started the initiative and it is moving so strongly. You saw in Kasarani, we registered more than 600 new voters, and the movement has not stopped. Tomorrow we are in various constituencies across the country mobilizing for the young people to register as voters. And you know, this exercise is not in futility, because now we are geared towards the 2027 elections, and you will see the difference even as we go by.
And we will come to that difference that the young people so desperately want to make. Let me bring in Lena to the discussion. He says, tuko kadi, uko kadi?
Absolutely. Niko kadi. And I think I should also ask you the uko kadi.
and
you will not hide under the guise of media anymore.
More than any other election, why are the young people wanting to make a difference, to make a change this time?
Thank you so much, Abubakar. One thing I think we need to realize is that there has been a youth awakening since 2024. And I think statistics have always shown that the young people will be triggered to act in something that directly affects them. They'll be triggered to react in something that their stake is directly involved. So if you look at since 2024, there has been a conflict between the young people, the government, and the political class. So that has caused them to now become hyper-aware of their civic responsibilities, and they have moved to now activate them as they wait for 2027.
Mm-hmm.
Yes.
Otieno Mokaya is an advocate, visibly a youthful person, individual. Otieno, more than any election, perhaps let me ask the same question. Why are the young, the voters, and the youthful this time wanting to make a difference?
Making a difference is the duty of the youth, and it is not new that youths are agitating for change. They are agitating for what should be their duty. 12 disciples of Jesus Christ were not old people. They were youthful, and they were kadi at their time against the Roman Empire. The Mau Mau fighters were youthful people. They were kadi at that time against the colonial masters. The YK92 or youths in the 92, the bearded sisters, were youthful people, and they were kadi at their time. Speak of the 2002 ODM Reloaded, led by Ababu Namwamba. Those guys were kadi at their time. So it's our time now, and it's nothing new. It's part of our duty to take up the civic responsibility to vote. It's news now because we have democratized success, either have we democratized failure, that we want to be congratulated for finishing a banana. It's what you should do for your nourishment of your body. Mm-hmm. It's what we should do for the nourishment of this country. It's not revolutionary. It is what we should do. It's a duty we have, civic duty, to register as voters. And on that day, let's not wait for anyone to mobilize us to go and vote. Let's have the same spirit. Let's go vote.
Let me bring in Kariuki Ngunjiri to the discussion. He's a youth leader in UDA. Kariuki, perhaps more than any other time, we have seen young people mobilize on social media, urging each other to register as voters. To the government that I'm sure, and I've hosted you a number of times before, and you support, should this be a worry?
You see, first of all, I have seen the proponents of that card story say that it is unequal to Ruto Must Go. And I want to tell them this evening that for us, we are very clear and we mean business. We are asking our young supporters in the UDA, the broad-based government, to go and register as voters to make sure that they protect the gains that we have achieved thus far. We want to protect the over 300,000 jobs in the housing industry. We want to protect the over 20 million Kenyans who are now registered into SHA. We also want to protect the development of talent and sports. Such good projects like the Talanta Stadium would not have been seen if President William Ruto would not be in power. We want to make sure that today we protect the current stability of 5.2% in the economy. We also want to make sure that our savings are protected through the policy interventions that our government has made. Today, we have 650 billion record of savings in NSSF. So for us, it's not just an empty slogan. And because I saw some of the proponents saying that they are starting that campaign because they want to remove President Ruto out of power, for us, we are telling them,
Is it my understanding that you will want the young people to register so that
yes,
the president and the government you support gets a second
It's why I'm saying, sisi tuko tayari, and we are urging our young supporters to register as voters, because equally, if somebody wants to bring a contest about who can be able to mobilize more Gen Zs and whom can be able to bring these Gen Zs to vote, then we have the capacity. We are the largest political movement by far.
And that you mean UDA. Let me bring in Dr. Ben. Kariuki talks of Tuko Kadi as being synonymous with Ruto Must Go. Is it? Is the sole intention as to why young people are registering so that the Kenya Kwanza becomes a one-term government?
In the Constitution of Kenya, Article 83 gives the mandate for everyone to register as a voter as long as you are of sound mind and you are over 18 years. So it is a democratic right of each and every individual who fits that caliber to register as a voter. And I disagree with my brother Kariuki because for one, the civic action that was orchestrated by the Gen Z in the year 2024 and 2025, where there was that demonstration of the finance bill. The Kenyans were saying that we are tired of the oppressive rulership of the current government, and the people that Kariuki is alluding to that the government is protecting, we find that the pay slip is currently charged more than it used to. In terms of when we talk about the housing levy, we see that that levy has been included in the taxpayers' salary, and that deduction is painless to every employee of the government.
All right, hold on that thought. Of course, we have a panel here to make sense of the latest initiative by the young people aimed at registering as new voters to impact the polls ahead of 2027. Time for us to take a short break. This discussion is after this break. Stay with us.
In Homa Bay and its environs, did you know you can easily claim your lost and found financial assets for you, your loved ones, or your organization? The Unclaimed Financial Assets Authority, UFAA, in collaboration with the County Commissioner, Homa Bay, is giving you an opportunity to claim your lost and found financial assets. From 23rd to 27th March 2026, come to Raila Odinga Stadium with your ID, a copy of a relative's death certificate, a copy of a grant, or a copy of an organization's registration certificate to search and claim your unclaimed financial assets. Listen to Radio 47 for more details. Claim your cash. Karibu nawe. The Unclaimed Financial Assets Authority. Receive, safeguard, reunite. Azam TV, your favorite pay TV, just got even better. Effective 1st March 2026, we have added 5 amazing new TV channels to keep you entertained day and night. AMC Movies and Nolly Africa for the best of Nollywood movies and series. Music Box Hits and Music Box Dance for non-stop music hits and dance. And Manchester United TV for football fans. More movies, more music, more sports. All in one place.
Revisha ushinde. Open and save in your KCB Gold Savings account and win. Revisha ushinde. KCB, for people, for better.
Welcome back. Thank you for staying with us. You're watching TV47's daily report. We are making sense of the Gen Z and the youthful vote. Just a reminder of our panel here tonight in studio. Let's make sense of that, of who we have equally. Dr. Ben Gigi is a youth advocate. Kariuki Ngunjiri is a youth leader in UDA. Otieno Mokaya is an advocate. Lena Mati is a lawyer and a governance expert. Lena, let me come to you. The Gen Z have in their quest said they are tribeless, that they are fearless, and that they are leaderless. Given that this is politics, surely the Gen Z must have a leader, is it?
I think before I even talk about the Gen Z leader, allow me to say this about GOtv. For some time, the young people had been perceived to be to demonstrate high voter apathy. And there was a perception that they just go to the streets to shout that they want change, but they do not want to participate in bringing that change. I'm very well pleased with this GOtv initiative because, number one, it brings young people from all across the board, whatever, irrespective of political party. And then I also like the mode through which it is being activated. It is being done through peer mobilization. It is being done through social media influence. It is being done by the young people themselves. So there is a sense of trust by the young people to the process. There's also a sense of, the young people are very unpredictable. But one of the things that they like doing is that they like to move with trends. And this is because trends give the young people a sense of belonging. Once they've hopped onto a trend because of the fear of missing out, there is a sense of belonging, and there is that it demonstrates that they are part of a community. So that is what that's why the young people love trends. Now, one of the things that I also feel like needs to be corrected is that the GOtv initiative should not be unequal to Ruto Must Go, or to 1 term or 2 term. Why do I say that? Let me give an example. When major wars are being fought, or when someone is looking at major victory, one of the things that you need to have is that you need allies. Actually, wars are not just fought with weapons alone. Wars are fought with relationships. Irrespective, whether you hold the same view, that's what matters. And so I feel like once we segment this GOtv initiative to 1 term or 2 term, we are excluding a certain category of young people that could be able to help us in future, because we may disagree on the president, yes, but we may not disagree on the 5 other elective positions. And
on that point, let me bring in Kariuki. Many have interpreted this as an initiative to reduce the Kenya Kwanza government to a 1-term government. Yes. They have interpreted this as being equitable to President Ruto Must Go. Yes. Do you view it that way?
And that is why I started by telling you that we are not surprised. Some of these things, we expect them, especially when we head into elections. As the leader of the young people within the party that manages the affairs of this country, my job, first of all, is to make sure that I convince as many young people as possible to support the government in its agenda. That is my first priority. However, I must also be alive to the realities of the moment. Sometimes you might apply whichever means you want to apply to persuade people to join your cause. Others might join, others might not be willing to join. And because this is politics, it's blunt, it is pragmatic. We say we want to move with the coalition of the willing. Those that are feeling that they are going to seek these votes, voters' cards so that they can vote out the president, we are telling them, because we understand the capacity that we hold as a movement, that we can also be able to mobilize our people without relying on an amorphous campaign, and we can be able to, if it's a game of numbers, we have the reach, we have the grassroots infrastructure. UDA is the only political party by April 14 that will have more than 580,000 poll officials who can help us mobilize.
You say you cannot force people to join your cause.
So if the proponent...
Let me ask you this. You say you cannot force people to join your cause. Definitely we are in a democratic country. But your cause is what some are saying has angered and is the genesis of these Tukokadi and these youthful anger, isn't it?
You see, the wrong interpretation on some of these issues is that some people think that using force, that people think that using blackmail equals a way to contribute to policy formulation and objectivity in this policy. It is not. We must distinguish between disruptive populist activism and constructive criticism. I want a situation whereby, Abu, we will sit down as young people and discuss issues. What has the government been able to do? These are the things that we expect the government would have done. What have you achieved?
Fair enough.
Can we give you a second chance? Yes or no? That is a conversation. But the moment a campaign morphs into, because we saw, and young Kenyans saw that yesterday, we saw that discussion on a certain TV station, those people who started that campaign saying that it is Ruto must go.
All right, and you have made your point. Let me bring in Otieno to the discussion. Otieno Mokai is an advocate. Otieno, is there a distinction between the Tukokadi initiative, which is an attempt to push the young people to participate in the electoral process, or as some have said, an attempt to say one-term Ruto?
Initially, it was a very harmless vibe. It was a vibe towards young people getting to get their voters card and voting. Until yesterday, when the dog claimed an owner of sorts, when somebody who was the face of the campaign came out and said it has another meaning, it has another undertone, it has a target. Then when you have a target, if you are pro-Iran, then you know where you are facing. If you are pro the US, you know where you are facing. And somehow, when these silent, subtle backs look like natural backs of a dog, you forgive them. Then they have a direction. Then you realize, wait a minute, this was not what we are looking at. And we should not assume monopoly of voter registration or even voter mobilization. History is dotted with people who have died of their own weapons. It doesn't mean when you make a gun, you won't die of a bullet. Biblically, Haman was a victim of his own weapon against Israelites. We had Mau Mau rebels who suffered more under Kenyatta than they suffered under Mzungu, so to speak. We have Jaramogi Oginga Odinga, who ended up suffering more under Kenyatta. The man, he said, there is no freedom without Kenyatta. We have Raila Odinga and other luminaries who never got to benefit from the constitution which they created and whose provisions they created, thinking that they'll be the first people to be elected from those fights. What I'm saying is, when you say Nico Kadi means Ruto must go, then you're missing the point. There is no slot on the ballot boxes telling you who should go. Let's vote positively. Who are you voting to power? Who are you putting to manage your resources? the long and short of this is this. You can't, we have voted out of hate for so long, and we have wasted 15 years of this brilliant constitution. It is the wrong energy to think that when you vote, you are punishing somebody. You can't use your power and your taxes to punish people.
Let me get your thoughts on a question I had earlier asked. The Gen Z were loud in saying that they are tribeless and they are leaderless. Given that this is politics, and politics being a contact sport, the Gen Zs will definitely choose a political side ahead of the polls, isn't it?
That is definite, because there's no slot for your hate. Most people should understand, and I think Kenyans should be alive to this point. The one person who loses an election earliest is the voter, because once you dip your ballot box into that box, you are not in control of who wins that election. So your trust is in the capacities of the person you vote for, not the person you are voting out. Someone will leave someday, but what have you done with your vote? Have you dipped that into another hole because of your hate or hate you have inherited, or have you voted for the future of this country? Niko Kadi is a good initiative, but let's not weaponize it towards an end we are not understanding.
Let me bring in Lena to the discussion. Kariuki, I'll come to you. Lena, what is motivating the young people to vote, to pick up their voters card, to be ready for 2027? What is the sole motivation, perhaps, for the young people in this?
Thank you. Well, as I had earlier said, that when the young people, when the stakes of young people are directly involved, they get motivated to go out and vote. When they came out to the streets in 2024, they were saying, there's no employment. There's a lot of corruption. There's a lot of opulence. There's a lot of mismanagement. Us as the young people, we're not benefiting. You're not even included in youth, in political spaces. And so these are the same issues, because these issues have been carried over from one year to another and they have not been addressed. These are some of the issues that are propelling them. And then there's also the aspect of revenge. We feel like we lost our young people, and this was probably castigated by the government. And so they are saying that because of that, we will make sure that you go. So there's a part of them that is very emotional, led by emotions, but there's also a part of them that also want the better things for this country. They're like, this is the end. We have faced this for a long time. We would want to see change in future. But even as we continue, especially with the Niko Kadi initiative, and that's why I'm saying that it has to be looked from an objective point of view, is that Niko Kadi should not be used to de-campaign or campaign for anyone. Niko Kadi initiative, actually, if used very well, it can morph into something that can serve as a civic education platform. And secondly, it can be used to be able to campaign for young people who want to occupy political positions in 2027. Yes.
Ben, let me come to you. Often in this debate, we hear of one term, that President Ruto must go. Some equally ask themselves, Ruto must go, okay, but who comes in?
Abu, that's a very valuable question, because destiny is not a matter of chance, but it is a matter of choice. So the young people have a choice to make when it comes to making their democratic right and to vote. It's not only about Ruto must go 1 term or 2 term. What we are saying is that we want good leadership. It's not only about the presidency. It's about all the leaders, from the ward level to the constituency level to the governors and all the other leaders who are in government right now. What we are saying as the young people is that wewe chukua kadi, you must take your voter's card and exercise that right to vote. It's not only about that slogan, but it's a free it should be a free and fair election come next year. And of course, we are mobilizing the young people to come to vote as our social responsibility. I'm one of the organizers in Nairobi County and the gubernatorial aspirant in Nairobi County. And of course, what we are saying is that we want to vote in leaders who can bring accountability to this country, who can bring transparency. And of course, if you look at Singapore, that the current government is saying that we are going to Singapore. The first thing that Lee Kuan Yew did in Singapore was to fight corruption and install the right judicial systems to ensure that that country is governed by the right leaders. If you look at Norway, Abu, as I finish, Norway as a country, they also did the same. they looked at their country in terms of what can we do to ensure that we are moving a step ahead of the other nations in Europe. And what they did is, number one, also to fight corruption. So as a country, if we are not able to fight corruption, if you look at the SGR railway that is being done right now,
all right.
From Mombasa to Nairobi, they spend, just as I finished, they spend 693 million per kilometer. And what they are doing right now from Naivasha to Malaba, they are spending 1.75 billion per kilometer. So we are saying we must fight corruption, even as we say to Kokadi.
Kariuki wanted to react to a point earlier. Go ahead.
Yes, this is what I want to say. And I want to tell Kenyans tonight that we have learned from past mistakes as people in government and the ruling party. I remember in 2024, we were a bit reluctant to engage directly in a confrontation in some of these debates. We thought that the patriotic duty of the young people of Kenya would always weigh heavily in their hearts. We thought that that is what would always ring in their conscience. But we noticed that there is a lot of interference that comes in between and some interests that we don't know, which are bound and hell-bent to cause a regime change in Kenya. It is why I want to assure our supporters tonight and all the youths across the country who support our team, we will not allow a situation whereby we have a vacuum of people who are purporting to fight for the Gen Zs, yet at the back of their minds, it is a political narrative that has been developed to ensure that we have anarchy and we have a repetition and a mass resurrection like the one we had in 2024. This time round, we are ready and we are asking our young supporters, you have an opportunity. If those that are against our existence come up and say that they are going to register as voters so that they can remove our government, you also have a responsibility to wake up, go register, and defend the gains that we have had thus far. We are ready, na tuko tayari. In fact, this time,
all right.
if they want to try us,
Kariuki,
tuko tayari.
You are defending the ruling party.
Yes.
Is the UDA and the Kenya Kwanza government.
Yes.
You say in 2024 there were mistakes made.
Yes.
I'm just looking at some of the terms used in 2024 in describing young people. President William Ruto termed them as misguided. The then Deputy President Rigathi Gachagua said, and I quote, entitled. Moses Kuria, then a minister, termed them as woke. Aden Duale termed them as lazy. Kipchumba Murkomen said they are spoiled. Then Nairobi governor and currently Johnson Sakaja said irresponsible. MP Boni Khalwale, senator, said Nairobi-fied. Robert Alai described them as TikTokers. Kipchumba Murkomen said these are spoiled people.
This is what I will say in a short moment. As a young person, I have to exercise responsibility. I must know where to start and where to end. I must always know, and even in a war, a soldier must always know when to stop. Otherwise, we will have a senseless, bloody war that finishes everybody. And
given that these are numbers of people who are within your government, whose names I have just read, and who called these young people names in 2024, surely, as Lena reported earlier and talked of, they will be wanting to revenge this name calling.
I mean, however way you want to call it, you know, for us, we interpret every situation pragmatically. If you come against us, we will retaliate, and with an equal or even more force. If you want to challenge our existence in government, we are also going to also come out and make sure everybody has their Gen Zs.
And just for purpose of clarity, that challenge is within the constitutional limit.
Yes, within the constitutional limit.
Let me bring in Otieno Mokaya to the discussion. There are some who say in Ruto as one term or Ruto Must Go is not necessarily an agenda. Do the young people have an agenda that will take them to the ballot?
You know, Abu, before I respond to that question, I want us to be careful. And I like how some of us used to communicate. I like how Mutua used to communicate on behalf of government. And the mistakes we make in how reckless our utterances are, especially in such platforms, it makes it difficult even for pure good communication to be done. I believe even in 2024, the finance bill was not as bad, but the bravado and the carelessness with which we presented it made people seem hopeless, and that's why we went into where we went. I think this is it. The Nico card is not a weapon. It's a right, it's a responsibility, it's a duty to take your card and vote whichever way you want, whichever manifesto that makes sense. I'll want to say that there have been reckless statements associated with this thing, including another statement in the morning that we want now to count how many shillings we are spending from Naivasha onwards, when we didn't count how much we spent from Naivasha backwards. There is the weaponization of even development projects that we just realized that an MP representing a whole county is saying that the taxpayers will pay for an SGR to Ikonge, to Kisumu, to Malaba, when we didn't. Who then is it Nakada that paid for the SGR from Mombasa to Naivasha? Why didn't we count how much we spent on Thika Road, and why did we forget that it's taxpayers who should? Nothing in this country should be looked at as if we are them versus us. When we develop this host country, we should also realize that our daughters will be married to wherever we don't want development to.
Fair enough.
Back to Nico Kadi. It's never a war. It is a duty. It's never a privilege. It's not even an achievement. The basic duty, civic duty of a young person, even a citizen in this country, register and go vote. Vote positively,
let me,
vote for someone.
Because of the interest of time, let me bring in Lena to the discussion. You earlier talked of revenge. There are those who are talking of a generational anger to make an impact. And there are some who say that is not necessarily a reason as to why you should vote, that anger and revenge should not be the leading lights ahead of 2027.
Absolutely, Abubakar. Those are just triggers. Those are things that are triggering the young people to vote. And I feel bad because it has come to the point whereby we need to be triggered to be able to vote. But allow me to say that the young people, there are things that the young people hold very dear to heart. Actually, if there is something that the young people have tried to eliminate, is personality politics. And they've actually come down to the issue of issue-based politics. So when you see the young people, they are not really against personalities. They are against particular vices. And they're saying that for us, what is on the agenda or what is on the table is that the rule of law must be upheld, institutions must be working, and the leaders must be able to serve people as they were elected to.
Dr. Ben Ngige, because of the interest of time, Tuko Kadi a hype or a real change in your view as we conclude?
I think it's a real change. As you spoke about June 2025, we saw that after the youth went for the maandamano in the streets, you saw real change and the finance bill was stopped. Right now we are talking about Tuko Kadi, and we are sensitizing all the young people to come and take a voter's card, to take an ID, and to ensure that they are voting, so that now we exercise our right. You see that in the Bible, Acts 13 talks about David did his purpose and he rested with his fathers. So it is a time for a new generation to arise and to take charge of this country come 2027, so that now we ensure that we are running this country in the right manner. If, for example, you look at the IEBC, they want to spend 7 billion to replace the KIMS kit instead of simply updating the software. So that is the poor leadership that
because of the interest of time, we will have to conclude the discussion there. Dr. Ben Ngigi is a youth advocate. Kariuki Njimunjiri is a youth leader in UDA. Lena Mati is a lawyer and a governance expert. Otieno Mokaya is an advocate. Ladies and gentlemen, thank you very much for making sense of this very important topic at a very important juncture in the country's history.